Welcome. I'm Harmony Slater, your host of the Finding Harmony podcast. Over the past 20 years, I've taught thousands of yoga teachers and students to explore the intersection between ancient wisdom and modern everyday life, using mind-body practices to heal, awaken, and manifest their dreams from the inside out. This podcast is a sanctuary for those feeling overwhelmed by life's challenges. Are you ready to jump in and discover how these challenges aren't actually in the way, but are the way to finding harmony? Let's invite the magic back in. What happens when devotion turns into blind obedience? When a teacher's power starts to eclipse their students' sovereignty? When students start to readily hand over their autonomy? When a teacher abuses their trust? We've been watching this conversation surface again in the Ashtanga community, and it's already come into the light, not a favorable light, in the Bikram world. Students have had boundaries crossed, bodies pushed past their edges to injury, the lines of consent blurred under the guise of love or discipline or devotion. And it's painful. And it's part of our collective reckoning right now, asking us all to wake the F up, to remember that real yoga isn't about submission. It's not about doing the correct method. It's not about perfection or being obedient or being the good girl or the good boy or following everything this teacher is dictating. But real yoga is about cultivating deep awareness of what is, developing integrity, truth, and ultimately freedom, liberation. And so today's episode feels especially potent because I'm sitting down with a dear friend and student and client of mine, Tamara Cole, who was a longtime practitioner and member of the Bikram world and community, training directly with Bikram many years ago, spending time going through his teacher training and watching certain lines being crossed, certain things being said that were completely inappropriate, certain people surrendering their will, their rationality, their sense of right and wrong. And we're going to talk to her about her story and look at how she's developed and moved on and how she came into the Ashtanga world and dove into a love for this practice, and then how we came to connect and meet each other. And she's grown and developed in my Lightworker Mastermind with a beautiful retreat that she is offering in January. And so we're talking also about some of the tools and practices beyond the asana, beyond the yoga mat, that have really helped her to uncover some of the blocks, some of the things that have been holding her back in stepping into full confidence, into a willingness to be seen and to lead. One of these tools is the 21-day Money Magic and Manifestation Challenge that I've put together, which she, as a member of my Lightworker Mastermind collective, has had access to and has gone through many of the days already, and how this process has become a way to help her unlayer and to peel back some of the illusions, some of the blocks to seeing what's possible, and has become a path to healing, shifting her scarcity stories and also softening self-judgment, that inner critic, and discovering that abundance is rooted in grace and generosity. And so I'm really excited to share this conversation with you because I'm offering this 21-day money magic and manifestation challenge right now to all of you. And as listeners, I want to give you the gift of $20 off. So you can find the links and the code in my show notes, the promo code to receive your $20 off. And also I'm going to be offering live daily activations, abundance activations to help you move through the challenge smoothly with accountability. There's 4 bonus live calls, and it's going to be an amazing 21 days of transformation. So if you've been curious about what kind of work I do inside my Lightworker Mastermind Collective, how I work with clients, and some of the tools and practices that are offered, this is a great way to dip your toes in and come work with me for 21 days. Find out what it's like. Get a taste of what we do inside this community. There's embodied abundance, nervous system regulation, there's spinal energetics, spiritual strategy, and finding the alignment that truly resonates in your bones. So take a deep breath and let's jump into this conversation. It is powerful and I hope you love it. Hi, welcome. Hello, Tamara. How are you doing?
Hello, Harmony. I am very well. Thank you for asking.
I'm so excited to have you here. I would love for you to just introduce yourself to all our listeners today.
Okay, my name is Tamara Cole. I currently live in the Galápagos Islands. And before that, I lived in Hawaii for almost 20 years where I taught yoga. I was a boat captain, 100-ton licensed boat captain on scuba diving vessels. And and still teaching yoga. So here now.
When did you start teaching yoga? How long ago was that?
So I started teaching yoga in 2010. The first class I ever walked into was in 2008. And I immediately just fell for yoga. It changed my whole outlook on how I felt about myself at that time. I was actually running a business with my partner, who was also my romantic partner at the time. And we had a parasailing business in Florida, which was quite intense because it was seasonal. So we really had to make our money during spring break and summer. And then in the off season, you put the boats away, everything's closed. So it was quite stressful. And I wasn't really happy, even though we were making pretty good money for the first real business I had ever had. And one day I stumbled into a yoga class at a fitness center. I thought, I have some time to kill. Why don't I just take this yoga class? And I did. And at the end of it, it was amazing. I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Like, I felt that I actually liked myself, or maybe even could love myself, that I didn't hate myself. It's all these things that were going on with running this business. Yeah.
That's so powerful. What an amazing sort of experience. Was it like you laid down in Shavasana and had that kind of insight?
Kind of.
Or that feeling?
Yeah, just at the end of class, I walked out of there on a cloud and not expecting anything. I didn't have any idea what yoga was. I wasn't fit. I wasn't flexible. All throughout my high school years and formative years, I had friends that were cheerleaders, that were ballerinas. I could never touch my toes. I was like, I don't even care. I didn't want to be athletic. I wanted to be punk rock and push against that whole thing. And then, I don't know, it was crazy. I don't know if the teacher, this woman, the whole experience was just amazing. And I decided I have to go back. I have to have more of this.
Incredible. I love that. Was it just a flow class?
It was in an LA Fitness in one of the rooms there. And I thought, I think I want to find a yoga studio, a dedicated yoga studio that has teachers that hopefully are along the same caliber or lines of teaching. Yeah, and also that had a kind of a wider, broader schedule for me to fit into what I was doing with my day. And so I actually found a Bikram studio that was close to our house that had a full schedule that I could choose from so many classes. And I went and I immediately just went into it and started doing Bikram yoga like 5 days a week.
Wow. Full immersion. And you like got so into it because I know you and I know your story a little bit that you eventually decided to go and train to become a Bikram teacher.
I did. It was only 2 years of practicing, and I thought, this is what I want to do. I feel so good doing it. I want to share this with other people. So how can I do that? And I decided to go to the teacher training that at the time was in San Diego, and I lived in Hawaii, and it was 9 weeks.
Wow, 9 weeks?
9 weeks.
Holy, that's a lot.
It is a lot. And you were there the whole time.
Tell us a little bit about what the days were like. What was a week? What did that compose
So
of?
you practiced the hot yoga twice a day, and they had a huge tent set up in the parking lot of this hotel that we were all staying at. There were over 400 people from, I think, 40-something different countries. It was really massive, amazing at the same time to meet all these people, to be there together. But yeah, it was intense. It was a bit like a boot camp. They're practicing 90 minutes of hot yoga in the morning and in the afternoon, and then having various lectures, breaking off into our different groups and learning the dialogue, because Bikram yoga is a set dialogue where you are expected to just read it off verbatim, what the students are supposed to do.
It's so interesting. I always found that kind of fascinating that the Bikram class did create literally like a script, that every single word was scripted.
Yeah.
And like a traditional Bikram class very rarely deviates from the script. It's like stretch.
Lock your knee, lock your knee, lock your knee. Yeah. Yeah.
There's lots of repetition too in it as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's fascinating. Did they ever explain like why they did that? Was it ever revealed?
Oh my goodness. This was so many years ago. Now I'm trying to remember if there was an explanation or if it was just like, this is what it is and you do it. Or if I even questioned it at the time, because I was just there and I wanted to get my certification. I wanted to get back to Hawaii and I wanted to teach. And that was the other thing, is I felt so isolated being in Hawaii. I didn't really understand the whole culture or what it was all about. I was just there for the yoga. And then you come to this kind of place with all these people from all over the world. And yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah, and you were with Bikram himself, like the real dude in his Speedo with his little man bun ponytail.
Yes, he wasn't there the entire 9 weeks, but he would come and go, and he would teach some classes and he would teach some lectures, and he would make us stay up until 4 a.m. watching Bollywood movies with him. And then we'd have to get up and practice the next morning. That's why I say it was a bit like boot camp. I don't know, they were trying to break us or what, but a little bit. Some of the head teachers would walk around, and if they caught you slumping over or napping, they would wake you up to watch the movie.
To watch the Bollywood
movie.
Oh my gosh. That's like torture.
A little bit, because you just want to go to bed.
Yeah. And it's so funny. Did they ever explain like what it had to do with yoga or the teachings?
The Bollywood movies? No. This was, I think, just because Bikram wanted to watch it and didn't want to be alone. That's my interpretation. I don't know that's true, but it felt that way a little bit.
I mean, a lot of stories came out around Bikram, around him bringing students up to his room, like forcing them to watch these movies. I think rape was involved.
Yes.
Inappropriate, all kinds of things were involved.
Yes, I can definitely see that. I wasn't impressed with him as a person, I should say, while I was there. I was just trying to get through this 9 weeks, surround myself with the people that I found genuine, and we were just trying to get through it and then get back to where we came from, the countries that we came from, so we could teach. But yeah, definitely, there were some things that were inappropriate, very inappropriate.
I'm so curious because I think like being a student with Pattabhi Jois and in that culture, there was certain things that I saw that I also thought that seems a little weird or off, not really how I would do it if I was a teacher. You know, you have these little moments of questioning what's going on. Was there any moments like that with Bikram that it sounds like there were that got your kind of spider senses like going, I'm not sure about this guy, if he's like what's happening here?
Yeah, like I said, I came from Hawaii. I feel like we're very isolated. And so coming into this, I didn't know who he was, but the moment I realized how he presented himself and how he manipulated people and used his power, I was not enthralled at all. I was actually very repulsed. And so, like I said, I just was like, put your head down, get through this. You paid 10 grand to do this.
Yeah.
You need to get your certificate and just get back to Hawaii. But definitely, there were things that he said that were just, I can't even believe some of the people who just stayed and put up with it. He never picked on me personally, but I saw him pick on other people. We all did.
Yeah.
I remember we would have to break off into, there was 400 and something of us. And so we'd break off into different groups. And they had us set in these set groups from the beginning of the 9 weeks to the end that we would learn our dialogue and practice with. And I can't remember how many, maybe 40 people in a group. Let's say there were 10 groups or something. And the head teachers would come around every so often and say at night, if you guys want to go to bed and wrap this up, we need 2 people from each group to go back to like Bikram's room, his hotel room or whatever. And yeah, luckily we had some really nice guys in our group that were like, we'll go. So the rest of us, thank you.
Yeah. Wow. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a little shocking.
And then they told us about it later. Like it was, in the beginning seemed fine because he'd had food and everybody was sitting around and they were talking and whatever. But then it was getting weird about somebody give me a back rub, somebody brush my hair.
Yeah. These like grooming techniques. It's so interesting. I just finished watching Breath of Fire, which was all about the Kundalini yoga organization, which is also a fascinating documentary revealing all of the incredible abuses that went on by Yogi Bhajan in the Kundalini yoga cult. And all of the grooming and all of the things that like the worst stuff, even worse than Bikram. With like underage girls, even like all kinds of crazy things. It's just profound to me that as students or devotees or people who put somebody up, even if you're not pedestaling somebody, but like you say, you've already invested so much money to be there to get this certificate. You've like, in a certain way, maybe given up. It's the same like when you travel to India and you invest all this time and energy and money to go to India to practice there, to be with this guru or this person. And it kind of lowers your ability to really stand up for what you believe in or to even see things clearly. Or you're always giving the person the benefit of the doubt or making excuses. And then there's like a hierarchical structure as well, so that the head teachers are also kind of like reinforcing that pyramid and not revealing what's going on, hiding what's going on. And like, I don't know, it's really complicated. Like human minds are very complicated at times, how it's not just a clear cut, oh, yeah, that guy's an asshole, I'm gonna leave, right? You're sort of like, well,
you're kind of stuck.
I don't know, I'm not sure what the truth is, I don't know. And then it's even more complicated. I know for me with Pattabhi Jois, I really liked the guy. Like he wasn't mean and he wasn't gross and he wasn't doing things totally that were feeling, for me anyway, personally. For others, yes, but for me personally, like that felt like you, right? You're in the room, you're like, yeah, I didn't really have those moments that felt invasive or crossing a boundary.
Yeah.
And if I did, it was like subtle enough or small enough that it didn't really register as inappropriate.
Yeah.
Or if it did register as inappropriate, then you think to yourself, maybe it's me. And you kind of take on the blame yourself, right?
Yeah, making those excuses for that person. Yeah. Yeah, it was tough. I mean, there was a moment there where my best friend during the training, so when Bikram taught, you weren't allowed to leave the hot room until after he had left the room first. And so he's up on this giant podium and he began this horrible rant against homosexuals, and it was terrible. I don't even want to repeat the things that he was saying. And my best friend from the training looked at me and said, "Get your stuff, we're leaving now." And I said, okay. And so we just got up. But then I noticed so many people got up to leave that nobody came up to us and said anything. Nobody could stop us at this point. It was so bad. So there was some pushback, and luckily we didn't get kicked out of the program and lose our money for it.
Right.
But it's very difficult.
Yeah, it's really hard, especially in a group of 400 people all there together. There's a lot of feelings of personal safety even, right? Going against the crowd and like not belonging and judgment and criticism. And this stuff is really deep.
And even speaking about it now, honestly, I have a bit of anxiety because I still know people who practice now. I think it's called hot yoga everywhere, but I don't know what they would think of me saying these things. And I hope they would understand, right? That this is just my perspective and my experience.
Yeah, and that's like a whole other interesting dynamic, I think, that we don't often, especially if you haven't been in this kind of intense sort of group dynamic, we often discount how strong that feeling of not wanting to hurt people's feelings or not wanting to lose friends or upset people who might have a different opinion than you is.
Very true.
That groupthink is really a strong push on maybe our individual experiences or impressions even. Yeah.
And on the things that we really want to say or voice or do.
Yeah, it takes a lot of strength, I think, to really stand up for yourself or for others within that context. It's very difficult. And we think that we're maybe immune to it, or like it's not going to happen to us. It's not. Right? Like people look at Germany and think, how did the whole country succumb to Hitler's domination and didn't question it and didn't stop and stand up? And of course, some people did. Right?
We're wired for that group, or for that group connection, and to be part of the pack or the group,
and it's something that I think a lot of leaders definitely take advantage of. That feeling of, if I can get them in the group, then they're less likely to rebel in a way. I don't know. It's curious. I think about cult dynamics a lot.
It is quite fascinating.
Okay. Yeah, no, it really is. It really is. And you see it used like all over the place too. Some of the tactics, they're used everywhere because it's a part of us as well as humans. Like you said, that feeling like of wanting to belong and feeling safe within a community. And those are all really good things too.
True.
So you practiced with Bikram, you got your training certificate, you started teaching back in Hawaii. How on earth did you end up in Galapagos? I mean, I think there's a lot that happened in between Hawaii and Galapagos.
Actually, so it was the pandemic and everything shut down. All the yoga studios, all the gyms, the hotels, everywhere that I was teaching. And I did maybe one online class. I just really wasn't feeling the online. I was so used to being in that group setting in person. And I just started picking up odd jobs here and there, tutoring kids after school. Nothing very fulfilling of what I really wanted to do. And then my partner, out of the blue, saw that there was a listing for a position here in Galapagos. And he said, "Oh, this is interesting. This position is listed. I think I'm going to apply." And I said, "Okay, sure." And he applied, and then they wanted him to come out. They wanted to meet him. And this was September or November of 2020. So this was still like during COVID. So he had to take, I can't remember how many the nose tests that they did, 5 or 6 within traveling for 2 days. It was insane. Like they made you take one every stop that you made basically. And he came out here and he saw it and came back and said, "All right, what do you think?" And I said, "Hey, I have actually always wanted to go to Galapagos ever since I was in high school, and my mom bought me, I think for 1 year, a subscription to National Geographic. And at the end of the year, they send their little portfolio of the explorations that they're doing, and come join us in the Galapagos. And I was flipping through it. I was like, I want to go. And then I saw the price tag and I said, I'll never go.
Oh no.
And then when this came up, we just said, yeah, let's do it. And it's funny, I think honestly too, if I was still teaching yoga, I think it would have been harder because I love the community in Hawaii. I loved all the places I worked at, the people I worked for. And so I would have had all that to contend with. But since it was all gone, I thought, I've got nothing to lose. Let's go.
Yeah, Galapagos is a really special place. Tell us about it, because like even the having to take so many COVID tests, it's an island.
Yes.
And it's very restricted, isn't it? Like as far as what comes in and what can go out.
Yes. So the Galapagos is part of Ecuador in South America, about, I think it's 1,000 kilometers away from the coast, so east of the coast. And basically, yes, out here in the middle of nowhere, it's a set of islands. And so I live on Santa Cruz Island. And yeah, my partner is the director of the Charles Darwin Foundation, which is the oldest research institute here, which is really great. They do a lot of really good work for invasive, bioinvasives or invasive species, and then using biocontrols and looking at the marine species, protection of marine species and invasive species there, and all kinds of things, birds, plants. I can't even, this isn't my job, but it's all for conservation.
So many species of various types.
So many things that we need to protect here because it is a unique place. There's animals that exist here that don't exist anywhere else on the planet. It's the only place in the world where you'll have an iguana that actually swims and forages under the sea for seaweed, to eat. We have the flightless cormorant. So the cormorants came out here, and over evolution, they lost their ability to fly because there was no need. So now they just swim and dive for their food. So there's all these animals that have undergone these crazy changes. But yeah, so it's very unique and it's quite an interesting place.
Wow, that's so cool. How did they lose their changes? Do they know? Is it just because there was no predators for them that way, or?
So yes, for the cormorants probably.
Is it a magic island?
It's a magic island. It's a magic island. You'll come out here, you're going to grow some wings and fly away. No, I'm not an evolutionary biologist, and I know I've heard all these talks a million times, but I'm so terrible at piecing this all together. But the marine iguanas, of course, it was from that kind of whole thing happened from a land iguana that started feeding in the shore, in the shallows, and then over time, I guess it started foraging further out because there wasn't enough food on land for it. And then the cormorants, I'm not really sure, but probably because there were no predators and they don't have to fly away. So what's the point of having these? So their wings are actually really small and tiny. So yeah, so it's probably less energy that they have to expend, and they can just use it for their swimming.
For fanning themselves.
Yeah. And then we also have the second smallest penguin and the only penguin that lives north of the equator. So that's pretty cool.
Oh.
Yeah, they're super awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And so you're in Galapagos in this incredible island. We met online.
Yes.
One of your reluctant online journeys.
No, I meant for teaching. I love taking classes.
I know. But you came all the way to Turkey on a retreat, and then since then have come into my Light Worker Mastermind.
Yes.
And I would love you to just talk about what brought you there. What was it that you were like, yes, I want to join this coaching program. I have this dream. I want to bring it to life. I like the energy work. What was it that made you come in?
Definitely. Okay. So yes, it did start with the retreat. A friend of mine had mentioned you and said, you really need to take some classes with her. And I did some online classes with you before I went on the retreat. And then being in person with you there, yes, and doing the energetics, it was really amazing. It just opened up a lot of, I don't even, how do you say things for me, but blocks, I guess, internal blocks that I didn't even really know that I had, but just felt lighter and better and more clear after going to this retreat. And then it's really interesting the way everything worked out because I hadn't really thought about the Light Worker Mastermind. It came up, and then this idea with running this retreat actually another yoga teacher here who owns the lodge that I'm going to be hosting the retreat at. She had met me the first year I moved here and said, you should do a retreat. I said, I don't know. But also it was COVID. I'm like, I don't know. People aren't going to, how am I going to make this work? I don't know about this. This is really sketchy. Yeah. But then over time, it slowly just started to seep its way in. And then meeting you and then hearing that you were going to be running this program was just perfect timing that, okay, this is it. This is the right time. And yeah, I jumped into your program and it's been going amazing. Now here I am putting my retreat out there, getting on Instagram.
Yeah, I know, that's so funny. You didn't even have an Instagram account when you...
I didn't.
You're like, okay, I'm going to do it. Beautiful. And so tell me a little bit about your retreat, because I think Galapagos, like you say, is very expensive to travel to and visit. And it's one of those once in a lifetime kind of journeys for most people where they go and see all these unique species and do the snorkeling and the swimming and be in nature. And
definitely.
So, yeah. So what are you doing on your retreat?
So this is definitely a bucket list kind of thing. People like, I need to come there and see all these things. And there are actually some people who do come back more than once. So we have those as well, because it is so amazing. And there are so many islands to see that you can't really see it all in a 1 week period. You would have to come back if you really loved it and you wanted to see more. But it is so worth it. I can't even put into words. You hear Galapagos, you think amazing, and you get here and it really just blows your expectations away. And everybody who has come here to visit has said the same thing. They said, even if I had to leave after 2 days, I would have been satisfied. That's how good it is.
What makes it so good?
I mean, well, also I think you have to be a nature lover. If you love the outdoors and, the animals have no fear of you. I think that is the biggest thing, is you feel like you don't belong here as a human, which I kind of love. Like the whole idea of, this is where the animals belong. This is their place, and we're just visitors here. And they treat you that way. They are just in the street. Basically, you will walk around me or step over me, but I'm not moving. Sea lions, iguanas, whatever it is. It just, the birds sometimes just come right up to you and you're thinking, what are you doing? There's a 6-foot distance that you need to maintain. It's a restriction with the park. And so sometimes the animals come so close and you're trying to back up.
That's incredible, because also it sounds like the human culture that has been built up on the island has been built to preserve the animals and the nature rather than destroying it, which happens in most areas.
Yes. Galapagos actually has done a really good job of preserving. They are on the UNESCO World Heritage Site. And there are many groups here that are here for the conservation, trying to protect what we have and maintain as it is now. Out of all I believe there's, I want to say 19 islands total. There are only 4 that are actually inhabited with humans. So the rest of them, you go to, and they are uninhabited islands. And that is the cool thing about, on my retreat, we go to 3 uninhabited islands. Yeah, so that means you get on a boat, and we go out, and hopefully, who knows who we see along the way, sea turtles, dolphins, whales, whatever it is, sharks. And then you get to these islands, and we can snorkel, we can hike on some of them. It's all designated by the park, so it depends on what the rules are with each island. But yeah, it's an amazing time. Sharks will just go right underneath you, rays will circle around underneath you. It's just beautiful.
Wow, it is a magical island. That's incredible. So you're going to go to 3 uninhabited islands. What else are you planning to do on this retreat if I were to sign up? I'm almost there.
So we are also going to visit a land tortoise reserve. We will visit 3 other beaches. We'll visit the Charles Darwin Foundation. We will do hiking. We will do biking. We will visit this other place where it's called the Magic Swing. So it's one of those swings that's out over the kind of cliff or over the trees that you swing on.
Incredible.
Yeah. The place that we are staying at, the lodge, is amazing. So they have a pool and a hot tub, but they also have their own cacao growing there. And so we will go and pick the cacao, and we will grind the cacao, which is not an easy process. So we are going to do our own cacao ceremony and have the cacao. It's going to be raw and bitter, but just like the Mayans would have had it, in ancient times. So It'll be a nice
Cool.
way of sharing and opening. And of course, we're going to be doing yoga. And some of my favorite things.
Not hot yoga.
Not hot yoga, no. It's going to be on a deck, beautiful, covered from the sun, but we'll be able to be surrounded by the landscape and the finches and the mockingbirds. And also some MFR, because I love my yoga tune-up therapy balls. Everybody gets them as part of their package, and so we will be doing some rolling. Yeah. Especially after hiking and walking.
Yeah, after
and swimming.
hiking.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that something that you've added to your practice? It's been a long time that you've been teaching and practicing now. So have you added this ritual of rolling out your fascia?
Yes, I actually took the training with Jill Miller back in, I think it was 2015. I can't remember. It was a while ago. But the funny thing is I never really taught the classes because in Hawaii it was hard to get the balls and then to teach the class. So I just did it for myself. But I love it. And so yes, I do incorporate it. I love it for prehab. I love it for rehab. I love it for even just proprioception. If I'm trying to work on something like say handstands and all of a sudden I'm just like, I can't feel a certain part of my body anymore. If you roll on it, all of a sudden all the sensory comes back into that area and you're just like, oh, now I feel this again. Now I can maybe do what I was trying to do, but you can definitely feel the connection more deeply.
Yeah, that's amazing. Incredible. Okay, we're going to put the link in the show notes so everyone can sign up and come explore Galapagos. It sounds absolutely magical and incredible and mystical. I'm so excited for all the people who get to go on this incredible trip with you. And for those who want to go but are thinking, I don't really have enough money, we have something for them, don't we?
Yes.
So within my Lightworker Mastermind, it's also a separate offer, a little course that I'm going to offer it live so that you can come in on November 3rd. You're going to start getting live audios from me, but you also can go through the course material. But because you are in my Lightworker group, you have early access to it. And you've already been through almost the entire 21-day challenge.
Yes, I have.
And it's called Money, Magic, and Manifestation. And so what was that like for you? I want you to tell everyone because I want everyone to come into this challenge because I'm so proud of it. I think it's so powerful, and it's really powerful to work on your money mindset. And it's not just your mindset, it's like your somatic reactions to money, because money's the thing that we never talk about, just like sex or other things. Right? So we bury a lot of unconscious programming, but especially money, because it goes all the way back to our roots, to our family, to our ancestors, to where we came from. And these are like inherited, frequencies and patterns that we take on unconsciously. So much of it's unconscious. So what was your experience like? Tell everyone doing this 21-day challenge.
It was really enlightening. Every session, I felt like I uncovered some new misunderstanding or belief that I had that was false about money, that was just so deeply rooted. You couldn't see it. But doing this work, and especially doing the somatics, there were various times that we did the tapping, the meditations, it all just really helps uncover these deeply rooted beliefs that are not really correct.
Yeah, and like rewire them too, like take the charge out of them, the energetic charge.
Exactly. Yeah.
I loved reading your comments in there and just like recognizing how even the littlest types of situations, not wanting to make people feel bad for having something at school. I remember you talking about that and how that can then show up as you not really wanting to share your magic or your gifts because you don't want to make people feel bad. And so it shows up in many different ways, not just in, your paycheck.
No, make yourself small so that you're not making other people small. And there was a lot of family buried history. My mother, I love her. She's amazing. She's a very strong businesswoman. And my parents divorced when I was 4. And so my mom started her own company pretty much a few years after, I think, the divorce, and raised me as a single parent, having this very successful business. But I also saw all these things that her having her own business that took her away from me in the time. I pretty much had to raise myself. She was hardly there. So I had this kind of distrust of money because it stole my mother from me, or I didn't like money in that way. And I also saw the way that she was at times. She was very harsh and direct, I don't know. And so some of these qualities that I saw in her, I thought, oh my God, to make money, you kind of have to roll people over and be this kind of person that I don't want to be. But is that true? No, it's not true. I don't have to be that person to make money.
Yeah.
I can be my own person, and I can be kind, and I can be loving and giving and forgiving and still make money. And it was just crazy. So many things. And even later in life, having that business, this parasailing business that I had with my partner, and realizing that I had told myself that was the most miserable time of my life. I was so unhappy, and I was making the most money of my life. So making money makes me unhappy. But that's not true either.
Yeah, we pair the things together, and then it blocks us in the future if it's a negative pairing.
Yes. Lots of
and it's really interesting.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and until you just slow down a little bit and do the work to do the uncovering, it just sits there. I think Carl Jung said, until you bring what is unconscious into your conscious awareness, it will direct your path and you will call it fate. And that's the power of slowing down enough to really open the box, Pandora's box.
It really is.
Yeah. Or if you want the Indian metaphor of churning the ocean, right? Churning the ocean, and what comes out first is the poison, because that's all the stuff that's buried down there. Yeah. But then once it comes out and it comes up into your awareness, what's left is beautiful, because then you can transform it and it becomes
energy,
it becomes gold.
Magic, really. To help you move forward in the way that you want to move forward. Yeah, more control over what I want and how I want to do it, how I want to be. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, I love that. Would you go through an exercise with me before we finish? I think it'll be fun. So you've already done some work around this, so maybe you'll have different answers, but let's just see. You're going to say the first thing that comes into your mind, okay? I'm going to write down your answers so you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so just take a nice deep breath in. And if you're playing at home, you can play at home with us too. You can write down your own answers. If you have a pen and a paper, you can grab your pen and paper and write down your own answers. We're going to do it here. Tamara and I are just going to have a little bit of fun and see. So take a nice deep breath in and exhale. Just releasing out. Good. And take a couple more nice deep breaths. Just connecting with your body, with this moment. And then you're just going to say whatever answer comes into your mind first. Don't filter. There's no right or wrong. It can be anything at all. Let's see what comes up, okay? So people with money are
enlightened, are kind.
See? You did the work, I know.
Okay, one word, sorry.
And one word. Okay, I put down enlightened. Okay. Money makes people
give.
Okay. Give. I'd have more money if
I put myself out there. Maybe that's still
Yep, there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. I'm telling you. Okay. There's no right or wrong. My parents always thought money would
provide.
Okay. Money causes
shoot, one word just quickly. I don't know. Anxiety. Now I'm slipping back.
It's fine.
Slipping back.
It's okay. There's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. No right or wrong. It's just interesting to see what shows up. I'm afraid that if I had more money, I would
be lazy.
That's a good one. Okay. Money is
energy. It's too much.
Good. In order to have more money, I would need to
work hard? Work harder?
Okay. Work harder. Sure. Let's do it. I think money is... Sorry.
I think money is magic. It's
Cool. If I were really rich, I would...
If I were really rich, I would really try to protect the oceans more. I don't know how, but somehow.
Okay, I like it. Conservation.
Yeah, conservation.
Okay. My biggest fear about money is...
My biggest fear about money is too much of it will make me greedy.
Beautiful. So this is the interesting part, right? Remember, there's no right or wrong, because money itself only has the value that we give it, right? As you say, money is energy, money's a tool, money helps us do good things in the world. It's just a tool for creating experiences, for buying goods, for donating, for a way of exchanging energy, right? Yeah. We could just use a barter system if we wanted, but money's more convenient because we don't really have so many people with chickens and cows and things like that these days.
True.
So when we take these same sentences, and if we're looking at money and just looking at it like a tool, we could replace it with something like, what's a tool that you like?
A tool that I like?
Yeah. We could say like a computer.
Oh, okay. Okay, it was like my snorkel and mask.
We could say
my fins.
Yeah, a snorkel. Let's do a snorkel. Okay. I love it. Okay. So, yeah, snorkels are really important. They help you breathe underwater, right? So they have high value. Yes. Just like money. Okay. So people with snorkels are enlightened and kind. Snorkels make people generous.
Okay.
I'd have more snorkels if I put myself out there.
Oh, okay.
My parents always thought snorkels would provide.
They do provide air, yes.
They do provide air. Helpful, right? Snorkels cause anxiety.
Ooh, it can when the water goes in. If a wave comes.
Right? Yeah. I'm afraid that if I had more snorkels, I would be lazy.
Okay.
Snorkels are energy.
Yeah, it all matters. Energy, everything's energy. Yeah.
That's right. In order to have more snorkels, I would need to work harder.
Pay for those snorkels. Those fancy gold-plated snorkels.
That's right. I think snorkels are magic.
They are. They actually are. You could have your head underwater for so long and still breathe is amazing.
You little bamboo reed and some goggles.
Yeah.
If I were really rich with snorkels, I would try to protect the oceans more.
I'd give everybody a snorkel. You get a snorkel and you get a snorkel.
Yes, you would. Oh, and my biggest fear about snorkels is they'll make me greedy.
Yeah. They'll stop working. Yeah.
So you see how, like, when we take money out and we just replace it with something that doesn't hold that same energetic kind of weight.
It has value.
It has value, but it's not stacked full of shame and fear.
True.
And wanting and lack and greed and all the things that we attach to money, right? Nobody attaches like shame to snorkeling. I hope.
Not either. Not in the Galápagos.
I don't have a snorkel. I feel so bad about myself.
Yeah,
right?
no.
We just don't do the same thing to
That's
it.
True.
And so it diffuses some of that energy.
Yeah.
And it allows us to then look at money as just, it's just a tool like anything else. And we don't have to put so much attention, energy, pressure, value about what it means is making us mean about ourselves, right? Like our inherent worth isn't pinned to how much money we have or how many snorkels we have or how many computers we have or how many hammers we have or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Fun.
So it's just like a
That
fun
was
little
really
game
fun.
that we got to
Yeah,
play.
thank you.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I didn't put this one in. We could do it. Yeah, but when you free up that energy, right? When you see it, oh, this is just a tool, then all of a sudden you can show up more, like with more clarity, because you're not showing up feeling like, oh, this has to pay in a way, right? Like you're not putting all of that power into something outside of yourself.
Right, giving.
It comes back into you.
It's true. It's like giving your power away. Now we can keep it for ourselves and we can have it from here to work outwards. Yeah, I like that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that the Money Magic Challenge served you. And
Still serving
yeah,
me.
you have it for life. So you can keep going back again and again whenever you feel stuck.
Good.
If you were to tell anyone what they would get out of joining this next 21-day challenge live, what would you say? What do you think they would get out of joining it?
I think they would uncover a lot, which I think is so helpful. You don't even know what you've buried until you start doing this work and really start digging deeper and having this self-examination, this examined life. And you don't, and it's hard to do it on your own. I think you really need these tools and the community. I love the community that we have in our groups, and doing things live with you is also amazing. Of course, the recordings are great as well, but when you're live, there's just something more that happens. And also you can ask questions because Harmony is pretty open to that. I think they would uncover a lot of misunderstandings, and they would be able to move forward with so much more ease and grace and just relief.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. I love that. I think it's so powerful to do this work in community because we're often going through a similar process as other people. And again, just sometimes community has those negative impacts on us as individuals. It can also have really positive impacts too, right? Because you don't feel so alone and you're like, oh, I realized this, and someone else is like, I realized this. And then you're like, oh my gosh, it doesn't even have to be the same realization, but just to see, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one who, buried all of that trauma deep down inside. There's other people who can relate, and we can help support each other. It's so powerful to heal in community as well.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And I love also just like the coming together and what you said, like just uncovering, doing that, slowing down enough to do the work to uncover what's there. And for, people who are spiritual entrepreneurs like yourself, like myself, into spirituality, yoga, the healing arts, coaching, like energy work, whatever it is, we're naturally giving. We're very typically it comes very easy to be generous and giving, and we want this work to reach so many people. And we want people to experience all of these beautiful things in life, and we want to just give it all away, which is nice, but that's also a pattern, right? Is like, where are you finding value, and how are you valuing your own work that you're doing and bringing into the world, and being in a community of people that are also really supporting that is so powerful, like supporting your value and the work that you're doing and honoring it. It's helpful to have that reflected back.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Not just be like, oh, I think it's good, or I think I'm doing okay. Living in this lonely little vacuum.
Yeah, this bubble.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, and then like undercharging for everything.
That's true.
So I think it's so important to do that work and do it in community with people who are also stepping up into their next level of leadership too. So I really want to honor you for saying yes and doing that. I think it's so powerful.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I love this retreat that you're doing. I encourage everyone to click on that link to sign up, because it's going to be really an opportunity of a lifetime. Galapagos is one of those places that I've also wanted to visit. So if you decide to do another one, we could maybe create something together.
That would be very cool.
But yeah, this will be an amazing first experience. What I've learned about doing things and being the first to do things, or at least one of the first people to do things,
What was this?
is you always get the best experience.
Nice.
Because people always pack it with stuff like that they realize like, oh, I way overgave. Like I really overdid it. So you always get the best value when you're one of the first people to sign up. It's been my experience. Thank you for coming on and sharing your experience and your wisdom and having this beautiful conversation with me. We talked about a lot of different things. So
thank you.
Hopefully people found it both enlightening and inspiring.
I hope so. Yeah, thank you so much, Harmony. It was great meeting with you.
Wasn't that just a beautiful conversation today? But before you go, I want to invite you into something so very close to my heart. It is my 21-day Money Magic and Manifestation Challenge. We are starting November 3rd. This is not just another mindset workshop. Over the course of 3 weeks, you will receive daily inspiration, journal prompts, videos, rituals, and subconscious reprogramming practices to truly help you clear those old money stories, your subconscious mindset around money, unconscious beliefs, rewiring yourself from a neurological perspective, raising your energetic frequency to attract more aligned wealth into your world. Think of this like a deep reset for your relationship with money. You'll uncover and release those hidden blocks that you've been carrying around from your family, from society, and past experiences. You'll expand your nervous system capacity to actually hold more abundance and activate the magnetic field that makes prosperity feel completely natural and not forced. And when you join, you'll also gain access to the Finding Harmony community, where you'll be supported with live new and full moon meditations. It is a beautiful space to connect with other soulful practitioners, and you'll receive bonus resources to keep your spiritual practice grounded and alive. If you want to begin right away, you can get my free manifestation activation instantly. And this is a powerful subconscious reprogramming tool to help you start rewiring your energy for wealth today. So if you're ready to transform your relationship with money, come step into a new frequency of abundance with me. Join me for the 21-day Money Magic and Manifestation Challenge. You will find the link in the show notes, and I cannot wait to go through this journey with you inside. That's it. We've concluded another episode of the Finding Harmony podcast. I just want to thank you so much for doing the work that changes the world, starting with yourself. It truly does make a huge difference. Please make sure you have your automatic downloads turned on wherever you listen so you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. I have so much more magic I can't wait to share with you. Lastly, if you're on Instagram, I love connecting and hearing from you. So come on over and say hello at Finding Harmony Podcast. And you can also come say hello to me personally at Harmony Slater Official. Thank you again for being here. I cannot wait to share more with you in our next episode.